Hey girl, hey. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It, Navigating Life as a Black Girl in her 20s with me, your host, Sean Monet. So, our word of today is growth in life. That's not really a word, it's just like a phrase. But personal growth is the act of developing as an individual. With that being said, let's get into the episode. So, in honor of me turning 25 on December 12th, I want to share 5 things that I've learned so far in my 20s. Okay, number one, don't be afraid to do things that make you happy alone. That means if you want to go and see a movie and maybe your friends are not interested in going to see that movie with you, go by yourself. You'll still have a great time. And a pro that I've learned about taking myself on dates and kind of spending time alone is that it's easier because you don't have to worry about people around you complaining about something that you're really interested in. I went to go see the Barbie movie and I went by myself because a lot of my friends may not be interested in seeing Barbie. And that's okay with me. But I went and I had a great time and I didn't have to worry about outside input on something that I liked. And I mean, it's frustrating when that happens, right? That's why I always encourage people just go, get up, go get in your car, and go and enjoy yourself. I remember one year I celebrated my birthday alone. It wasn't on my actual birthday; it was a couple days before, but it was like a birthday dinner for me because I did not want to accommodate anybody else's needs because that day was not about them. That day was about Sean. It was about me. And I went, I ordered me an appetizer, I ordered me a drink, a dinner, and I had a dessert. And I had a good time. I had a good time. My waitress was really sweet. I think she like covered the dessert portion, which I thought was really nice. And oftentimes, if you're being a lady, but also be aware of this before I get too deep into this. People will buy you drinks because they think you're like lonely. But I'm like, I'm not lonely. I am alone, and that is a difference. It's a big difference between the two. But I sat there and I enjoyed my food. I watched like a little YouTube. I brought my AirPods with me because sometimes I don't want people to talk to me while I'm out eating. um, yeah, make yourself comfortable and just enjoy spending time with you because there's nothing like it. And especially while we're young, I don't have kids. I really value my time by myself because I know one day I will have a family. And I know people with families, it's not the easiest to just drop what you're doing and go and have some self care time. I talk in circles sometimes. You guys may notice that because I can go off onto a tangent. Um, but you know what? This is my podcast. I'm really doing this for me, and I hope people get something out of it at the end of the day. Okay. Number two, take care of your body and your mind. We're going to start with body. Your body will treat you good as long as you treat it good, which means eating your greens. I'm not telling you to go put down the fried chicken if that's what you like to eat, but everything in moderation because we only get this body one time. It just because we get it one time does not mean that we won't feel the effects of what we put in it today while we are still breathing. Um, consume more greens, consume like your fiber. Make sure you're getting your fruits in and make sure you're engaging in some type of exercise. And I'm not dragging nobody when I say this. Don't go and eat a mini bundt cake and just sit down. Go and like walk around your house, walk it off or something. Drink some water behind it. And I think these days I'm a little bit more health conscious because I do have PCOS. So sometimes an overload of like sugar or carbs can weigh me down and I don't feel good. Sometimes if I indulge too much, it makes me feel sick. My mood is affected by the things that I eat. So I have to watch it a little bit more closely. and I'm also pre-diabetic. It's not really TMI because this is my podcast, and I am working on being vulnerable and stuff. So I pay close attention to it, but I don't deprive myself. Like if I want something sweet, I'll go and get something sweet. But I know that hey, it doesn't need to be a back to back type thing because it affects me inside and out. I can be cranky. Like what people don't realize is that like food really plays a role on how it is you feel. Like for real, it affects how you go about your day. And I don't want to be grumpy. I like to be happy, go lucky, and light on my feet. That's just me. To each his own. And when I say take care of your mind, that means not over consuming yourself in negative things or drama. Like for example, if you have a friend or a coworker or anybody who is just always bitching and complaining, you don't need to be around that person because that can consume you. And you'll find yourself slipping down that path. And sometimes you can't get out of it and you may hurt some people along the way. Um, I had that happen to me like just recently where I was hanging around people that were very negative and I became like them in a sense. And I had to go back and mend some friendships because I became that person and I did not like it. But I'm glad I caught myself before it was too late. Also, things on the internet, watching, well, being mindful about the things that you see or that you watch. Like, if you're just watching, what is that show called? It's like Baddies something. Like, if you're just watching a whole bunch of grown women fight, that's like negative. You don't want to overindulge in something like that. And I'm not saying, oh, you gotta go and watch like Christ television or whatever, but limit that. Try to watch something that's informative or something that is positive or that makes you feel good or inspired to go and get up and do something. You know, I'm not saying you got to go and watch like a whole bunch of TED Talks and motivational speakers, but there is a happy medium. You got, I think I said that right, medium, somewhere in the middle. You got to find like that middle ground. You don't get this body one time, and you don't want to have a great foggy brain because it's all you listen to. It's a whole bunch of bullshit. Um, Number 3, apologize instead of making excuses, especially if you've wronged somebody. Don't say, I'm sorry, but for starters, you are sorry because what you did probably was not the nicest thing to begin with. And don't put a but behind it. Take accountability for your actions because most time that's what people want. And that's what I want from my parents. I have a really tricky relationship with my folks, and it's because they are saying sorry, but they don't know what they're sorry about. And if they took accountability, if they asked what it is they did, not told them, and they apologize for it, then it might be easier to forgive them, if I'm being honest. Or anybody. And I'm not dragging my parents. They're not like the worst people on the planet. But we've had our things. We've had our differences. I think it's very important to apologize if you did something wrong. So that you can move on. You and a person can both move on. We don't need to be we don't need to be burning bridges with good people. There's so many good folks out here. And you never know who you might need someday. And that shouldn't be your only motive to apologize. You should want to do it because you are a kind person. Okay. I think I've lost track because usually I break up these segments, but right now I'm just kind of letting it flow, like letting it flow naturally. Okay. I think this is like number 4, 3 or 4. I'm so sorry. But finding joy in the little things in life. Being appreciative of the fact that you have gas in your car, that you have food in your refrigerator, and that you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from, that you have lights and Wi-Fi, um, that you have a job that pays you enough to cover these things. I hope your job does. But I think appreciating the smaller things kind of changes your perspective like on life. It will make you feel a whole lot jollier. Because for a while I was just complaining about things, right? I was just complaining about things, and I'm just like, there's people that are dealing with way worse stuff than I am. I'm complaining about nothing, you know? And that's what it feels like essentially. And there's people out here who are behind on bills and who can't go and eat at a fast food restaurant because they need to make their money stretch. And we've all been there before, I'm sure. But it's not a good feeling, you know? It's not a good feeling. And I'm up here complaining because my Wi-Fi won't connect. Like it'll be off forever. Like all I have to do is dial a number and it'll be back on. It's little things like that. Like stop complaining about the small things and be thankful for what it is you do have. Because there's people who would love to have the type of problems you have versus the ones that they're facing right now. Be more appreciative. And don't be mean. Don't be a mean person because all you see is how shitty something is versus what's good about something. That brings me to my next one. I think this is my last one. But being optimistic. I cannot stand someone who is always trying to figure out what could go wrong with something before trying to present options that may work. You know, that bugs me. I hate hearing the word no because I'm like, you saying no, but why? Why is it a no? How can we turn that no into a yes or a maybe? I had a situation at work where all I heard was no. And I'm like, why can't we make these things happen? And why are you like trying? Because especially some people in like leadership type positions or whatever, it's always no. We can't. I'm like, tell me what I need to do to change that. Or why can't it be done? Because I feel like anything is possible. And though it may not be easy to make something happen, it's a way. It's a way. I feel like most problems have a solution. Pretty much every problem has a solution. Y'all. So those are just 5 of many things that I've learned since being in my 20s. As I continue to learn things and I continue to grow as an individual, I will share those things throughout this podcast. If you have any things that you've learned that may be helpful to other women in their 20s, 30s, what have you, please leave them in the comments below. Because my goal is to create a community where we can just be us, but we can also help each other elevate in this world. Hell, we're already black and we're women. There's already 2 strikes against us. We have to work 10 times as hard, harder than our counterparts that we work with already. So if we can, push each other to the next level, that's what I would like for us to do. Okay. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. There is more good content coming, I promise. I'm just still trying to get into like the flow of things and figure out what it's okay to share on the internet versus what's not okay to share. So bear with me, okay? With peace and lots of love. Have an amazing week. I have another podcast coming right behind this one, so make sure you tune in, especially if you are a PCOS girly. I'm newly diagnosed, so I don't know everything, but I will be sharing a couple of things that have worked for me so far. All right? Bye, y'all. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now and join our community. Let's embark on this exciting journey of self-discovery and empowerment together. Welcome to Let's Talk About It.